Okay, welcome to, I think this is part 5 that we're on right now, of Relearning Angular, where we're going back over the basics and hopefully in the future some more advanced topics. And whether you're new or you're like me and you're trying to relearn Angular because you've forgotten, hopefully this will help you get there. And if you like this kind of content, feel free to subscribe. That way you don't miss any videos in the future. And today we're going to look at the NgFor directive in Angular. So in the last video, we talked about the NgIf, and today we're going to look at the NgFor. So let's go back into VS Code, and this might look familiar. Here we're saying if the value of name has any length, if there's any characters in that, then display this paragraph. And let's go to the Typescript because I added something. I added an array, and it's of type string, and this might look new to you. This is Typescript. It allows us to strongly type properties. And here are some movie titles in this array. These are some of my favorite movies, and you can feel free, if you're following along, to do some of your own favorites. So I'm going to do this the hard way, and then I'll show you how the NgFor directive makes this a lot easier. So instead of the NgIf, let's get rid of that in the opening tag. And let's say I want to list out the titles here in this movies array in the class of the component. So what I could do is I could do string interpolation, and inside of the string interpolation, I could do movies and iteratively go through each one. So this would be index 0, and we'll do index 1 and index 2. And hopefully by now you're seeing, or you're saying to yourself, why would anyone do it this way? Isn't there a better way? And the answer is yes, but let's look at this. So let's ngserve o, let this compile. And while this is compiling, and yeah, I have a different Angular project running in the background, so we'll use a different port. But while this is compiling, let's think, what's the problem with this? What's one of the problems with this? Well, what if our array here changes? What if we add a movie to it? What if we remove a movie to it? Every time we'd have to do that, we'd have to add and remove a paragraph, and remember to, we'll kill this one. And yeah, here are the movie titles. But we'd have to remember to add a paragraph for each movie or remove one and update the index of the value that's going to be displayed, right? It's not very dynamic. And that's what the NgFor directive allows us to do. So yeah, here's the movie titles. They did list out at least the ones that we told it to, but there's actually an easier way, and let's show it. So we're going to do asterisk in the opening tag of the paragraph and say NgFor. And here we're going to do equals and then quotes and say let movie of movies. And all this is saying is in this iterative movies, each one we're going to arbitrarily name movie. So I could name this X, I could name this, Y. For me, I'm just going to name it not movies equal movie. And in the interpolation, we're just going to put movie. And now each value in that array gets its own paragraph dynamically because it'll loop through movies, and each one gets its own array, and that value is put right here. So now that it compiled successfully, let's go look at it. And now I have every single movie in that array without having to write out each paragraph for every single one. And if I remove one and hit save, I didn't have to do anything on the HTML side. It automatically just did its thing. It said, oh, there's only 4 now. We'll loop through each 4 and display each of the 4. So now let's combine what we learned in the last video with this video, and let's create a table in HTML. So the table header is just going to say movie title, and then the table row is where the NgFor is going to go. So I'm just going to copy this and put it inside of the table row. So each movie is going to get its own table row, and inside of the table row we are going to have table data, and that's where we're going to interpolate the value of movie. So let's see how this looks. I will go ahead and recompile, And here we go. We have the header, we have movie title, and then the movies listed out here. And let me get rid of the paragraph now, because we don't need both. But let's ask ourselves, what if we remove everything in this array? What if it's just an empty array? And we save it, it recompiles. Let's look at it. We still get the table itself. It might be hard to see, so if we inspect it in the HTML here, we should still see the table. It still exists, but what's the point? Because there's nothing to display in this table. So what we can do in the HTML of the component, we can do NgIf, and our condition is going to be movies.length. And we'll save that. And now if we go and look, there is no table because movies doesn't have any value, and that's what that movies.length provided us. It interpreted as a Boolean saying, well, if there are values, come out as true. If there's no values in this array, it'll be false. And now if I Control Z this and we get all our movies back, and actually let's add the last one too. I think we should have 5 now. Yep. And save that and look at it. What happened? Oh, we just went to movie titles. That's what I had it originally, but that was too long of a name, so I changed it to movies. So now let's save that and it'll recompile. And here we go. Now that there are values, it'll show the whole table. If there aren't values in that array, the NgIf will not render that whole table because there's no point. And here we go. We can see each row was created with that NgFor directive. So pretty nifty. I think that's all we're going to show in this video. Stay tuned for more in the future. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this and at least learning something. And yeah, hope to see you in the next one.